we're now heading into August. For those of you that are doctors that are listening, in August, we have a changeover. So we change jobs. So I thought, this is probably the perfect time to get me back to work because, in August, we rotate our jobs. So it makes sense for me to fit into the next rotation, right?
And you were already out of work for like 4 or 5 months.
I've been out of work since March. So March, April, May, June, July. So that whole rotation, which at that time was a psychiatry rotation, I did not attend because I was not allowed to go to work. Because we changed rotations in April at that time. So I thought, well, at least I can start my next job. So I contact the lead employer, speak to one of their HR assistants and say, well, look, the police investigation's come to an end, so please can I now go back to work? She states to me, we need to now discuss this with the medical director. So I'm thinking, well, it's the 25th of July. We rotate on the first Wednesday in August. We've got about a week. That's enough time for him to see that the police investigation has come to an end and he can get me back to work.
Yep.
Then I hear nothing. Right? So that first Wednesday of August has come and gone. Doctors have rotated, and I still don't hear back from the lead employer. And I'm thinking, well, the police investigation's come to an end. What next? We then get to the 16th of August, so almost 3 weeks later. That is when the medical director writes to me again and then decides to restrict my training for another 4 weeks. In that, he states, he's aware that the police investigation has come to an end, but he's still not satisfied. He now wants to carry out his own internal investigation. And at this point, he's asking me to comment on the issue at hand, to comment on the complaint. I then go back and say, well, up until now, I've only got these 3 bullet points, which is I attended QMC, I apparently made threats to the staff members' personal safety and life, and that the concerns have been reported to the GMC and the police. By this point, I've contacted the GMC. What the GMC say to me is, if you don't hear from us within 2 weeks, that means there will be no GMC investigation. And this was back in April. The GMC never got in contact with me. So all that tells me is that there is no GMC investigation, right? So then I go back and I say, well, okay, you want to hear my side of the story, but I don't know what the complaint is. So can you please now send me a copy of the complaint so that I can address whatever's written in that complaint? I get told in one email by HR that they don't have a copy of the complaint. Then I go back and say, well, that doesn't make any sense to me because you've received a complaint. Based on that complaint, you've restricted my trainings for all these months. We've now reached a point where the police investigation's come to an end.
Yep.
You're now asking for me to comment on what happened or the complaint, but you're telling me there's no complaint. They then say to me, no, actually, there is a complaint, but we're not allowed to share it with you because the complainant hasn't given us permission to share it with you. So then I say, well, what exactly do I need to then respond to? Because there's not enough here. These 3 bullet points aren't enough for me to respond to. I then get another email, which then outlines how to write a statement and how to write my side of the story. And, it just lists how I should do it, mention who I saw, who I spoke to, etc., etc. So when I get that email, I think to myself, well, okay, fine. Basically, you're just telling me to outline what happened,
which
I've already done.
Yeah.
Which I've already done because I've already written this 13-page document, which is my letter of complaint against that doctor.
Yeah.
So at that point, I think, well, all right, I'll just send you a copy of this. And honestly, at that point, I thought, right, head of school has seen it. She's not said anything other than being supportive. Program director has seen this. She's also read and thought, yeah, I know what's happened. I'm not going to say anything. So I thought when the medical director sees this, he will read this and think, okay, I can see what's happened here. He will also take into account that the police found nothing. Therefore, this doctor is telling the truth. Sagir is telling the truth. So I'm just hoping that, the next time he contacts me, he'll say, fine, you can go back to work. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Anyway, what I've also done at this point is I've asked for a copy of the policy that they're following because I want to really know what their kind of policy is and what they're doing. So I get sent the handling and concerns policy,